Straight ahead on 6 News, a person in custody after a Huntington County standoff. Plus, officials say they've arrested all 5 teen suspects accused of conspiring to kill another teen. Just weeks after officials condemned an iconic Altoona building, the latest push to get it reopened.
6 News, coverage you can count on, starts now.
Good evening, I'm Stoker Wyzorek. Sean is off. We'll get to those stories in just a bit, but first we begin with weather. It may be nice out now, but big changes are on the way. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Tony Martin to find out what's in store for our area over the next few days. Tony.
Stoker, yeah, some huge changes coming our way heading into...
State police say a suspect is in custody following an incident involving a barricaded person in Mount Union Borough in Huntington County. Troopers were dispatched to the area of Federal Drive before 1 p.m. today. Our crew on scene says an armored vehicle was brought to the scene and concussion flash grenades were reportedly used. Federal Drive is listed as the address for the Huntington County Housing Authority. No further details have been released at this time. Police say the 5th person wanted in connection to a New Year's Day shots fired incident is in custody tonight. This as we learn more about the investigation by Altoona police. Police say 4 of the 5 teens facing charges allegedly conspired to kill the other teen. Authorities say school officials claimed that the teens were reportedly involved in an alleged gang war. Some of the teens had also reportedly been expelled from school recently due to what officials say was escalating violence and fighting. The 15 suspect, 16-year-old Hezekiah Steely, was taken into custody this afternoon. We're still following an animal cruelty case in Clearfield County. State police say a husky puppy was reportedly found abandoned with a broken femur earlier this week. The Animals Matter organization now releasing pictures of the puppy. Troopers say the 4-month-old female husky was discovered early Wednesday morning along Bucket Line Road in Boggs Township. Police say a member of the Animals Matter organization found the dog. If you have information about the puppy or its owner, you're asked to contact PSP Clearfield. A former Blair County Corrections officer is behind bars accused of having a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old girl. Police say in late January, authorities received a tip that John David Malika of Roaring Spring began the relationship in November after he met the girl through her cousin. Authorities say the relationship lasted through the end of December, and Malika is accused of offering the girl money, vapes, and a cell phone to keep quiet. Malika has been charged with numerous offenses, including several felony counts of statutory sexual assault. He is being housed in the Blair County Prison on $100,000 bail. A Cambria County man is facing rape charges after he allegedly sexually assaulted a teenage girl twice last year. Police say earlier this month, the girl told authorities that 19-year-old William Douglas sexually assaulted her in January of 2023 at a Lake Street residence in South Fork. Police say a second incident occurred in November when Douglas allegedly recorded another assault with a cell phone at the same house. Douglas has been charged with several sex offenses, including felonies for rape and sexual assault. He was arrested earlier this week in Ohio and has since been extradited to Pennsylvania. He is being housed in the Cambria County Prison. Take a look at your screen. Penn Atlantic officials say there will be a power outage taking place this Sunday, February 11th in Ferndale Borough on Station Street, Ferndale Avenue, Vic Roy Avenue, and other surrounding streets. The outage will last about 6 hours from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. A mobile home destroyed by flames this morning. The fire occurring between Pine Creek Township and Brookville Borough at the Allegheny Estates Home Park on Corbett Lane. According to the Brookville Fire Department, a call for the fire came in at 10 a.m. with crews on scene for around 2.5 hours. Department leaders say they do not believe the owner was home during the incident, and the state fire marshal is currently investigating the fire's cause. A Jefferson County commercial building was deemed a total loss after a massive fire yesterday afternoon. Now, state police investigators were on scene today at the National Fuel Building in Brookville assessing the damage. The building is located next to the Seneca Resources Building on Zentz Boulevard. Officials say no injuries were reported. An office building in Altoona could be operational just a few weeks after it was condemned by the city. Brock Owens tells us with what work has been done on the building and one tenant is saying about its future. Brock.
Stoker, I'm in front of the historical Gables building in downtown Altoona, and one person involved in helping repair the building says at least one part is just about ready to go. There's two parts to the Gables building, one along 12th Avenue and the other is along 11th Avenue. In January, a sprinkler head blew, causing water damage and concerns with the electrical system. A tenant of the building that's also been involved in working on repairs says the water only affected one part of the 12th Avenue side, along with the 11th Avenue side. But city officials ordered the building to be vacated and condemned after an inspection. According to tenant Pam Mitchell, since then, all water has been cleaned up in both buildings, and the faulty sprinkler head in the 12th Avenue side has been fixed. She says all demands have been met to open the 12th Avenue building, but the city is not able to inspect until next week. The sprinkler system on the 11th Avenue side still needs repaired before contacting city officials about possible next steps. There were no tenants on the 11th Avenue building and 6 tenants in the 12th Avenue office, but at least one will not be coming back. She says there have been talks with city officials about helping pay to preserve the building, but she says there has been some resistance.
And I pray that with God's hand, our government officials come to see that it's worth saving, that this building is worth saving, because I sure think that it is. And I'm sure that the tenants and the building and the business owners feel that it is as well.
We are losing Brock there, but we do thank him for his report. Mount Nittany Health is mourning the loss of its EMS manager. It says Rich Kelly died last night at the Mount Nittany Medical Center Emergency Department, surrounded by coworkers. Kelly joined Mount Nittany Health as a paramedic in 1991 and says he contributed significantly to the development and growth of the department and EMS in the region. He also led Emergency Preparedness Committee and served on the Center County Public Information Working Group. Kelly was the EMS clinical supervisor before being the EMS manager. The Greater Johnstown School District and Career and Technical Center each receiving grants to buy new equipment. Officials announced $85,000 each as part of a program to help technical schools and career centers buy equipment for high-demand careers. Admiral Perry AVTS also received an $85,000 grant. Coming up on 6 News, a brewing company says they're giving back to veterans with the help of others. Plus, Donald Trump, a keynote speaker tonight for the National Rifle Association. We'll have live coverage after the break.
This is 6 News, coverage you can count on.
Levity Brewing Company in Altoona is partnering Military Families Ministries USA Incorporated to raise funds to help the organization continue to provide help to veterans in the area. Every second Tuesday of the month, the brewery will host Taps for Troops, where $1 for each draft sold will go to support the organization. MFM recently expanded the services that they offer with the addition of office space inside the Bell Mansion into Bellwood to include programs such as Success After Service, which helps veterans with things like finances and relationships. The workers at Levity Brewing saw this as a tremendous way to help those who have given us so much.
The generations of men and women who have served in our armed forces make it possible for us to do something as fun and silly as making beer and food and having concerts, and we're so grateful to them. This is a tiny way that we can give back and raise awareness.
Again, Taps for Troops happens each second Tuesday of the month from 5 to 8 p.m. Members of Military Families Ministry will be in hand to meet with any veterans that may have questions about the services that they can receive. Investigators recovered 3 additional bodies from the house that went up in flames near Philadelphia following a shooting earlier this week. That brings the total to 6, all believed to be from the same family. A couple, their 3 kids, and an uncle. Crews are starting to knock down the house today because of its extensive damage. The grandmother who escaped the home indicated it was the uncle who started shooting, but couldn't speak to a motive.
My, again, assumption is that The fire was started at some point after he probably killed members of the family. I could be completely wrong. The medical examiner is going to try to determine how they died, if they died by gunfire or if they died by smoke inhalation and burning.
The second officer who was shot while responding to the house is being released from the hospital today. The first was greeted by a procession yesterday. Is the sky falling in Mount Airy? One Philadelphia family is still trying to figure out why a strange metal object ended up on their roof and how it got there. A bullet and note being found inside a university bathroom. The students responsible now identified by campus police. Indiana University of Pennsylvania officials say the bullet and note were found inside Jane Leonard Hall Thursday morning. They say students are cooperating with IUP police and confirm that their actions were not intended as a threat to anyone. Officials say classes are continuing as scheduled and resources are being offered for students who may have been affected by this incident. They say the investigation is ongoing. Former President Donald Trump campaigning in Pennsylvania this evening for the first time this year. Pennsylvania once again expected to be a major player when it comes to deciding who will be in the White House. Joel Smith is at the Farm Show complex in Harrisburg. Joel, what is Trump expected to talk about?
All right, yeah, we're getting ready to go here. This is the Farm Show complex, the New Holland Arena. They play some indoor soccer in here and have some events like this that are also very lively. Right now, we got the warm-up band up there. They're called the War Hippies. They're talking about how they would love to have Donald Trump back in office again, and many of these people feel the same way. Seats about 8,000. That back section won't be filled, so we're looking at probably a good 7,000 people. We saw them lining up for hours to come in here. They are anxious to get Donald Trump back in the White House, regardless of how many tough times he has fighting his different court cases. He was just in the Supreme Court a couple days ago in Washington, D.C., talking about how he should stay on the ballot in Colorado. No doubt he will talk about what's going on with his opponent, a likely opponent, Joe Biden, who had a rough day yesterday. He's already been trolling him, that is, Trump trolling Biden on social media today. So he's expected to hit the stage at about 6 o'clock. Should be interesting. This has been an important place for him in the past. You win Pennsylvania, you can win the White House. They're counting on that again. I'm Joel D. Smith here, live in Harrisburg. Back to you.
Joel thanks Biden, giving some of his harshest criticism yet regarding Israel. Here's national correspondent Kayla Gaskins.
President Biden delivering sharp criticism of Israel during Thursday evening's press conference.
Still ahead on 6 News, school students help a local charity while playing the sport they enjoy. Plus, we hear from a Super Bowl musical director and producer to learn what it takes to pull off an unforgettable performance. The White House defending President Biden's mental fitness after a special counsel report reinforced concerns many voters have about his memory. The investigation behind the report examined the president's handling of classified documents and resulted in no criminal charges. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar reports on the political fallout.
I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
Do you think President Biden is mentally fit for office? Yes or no? Head to our WJACTV.com website to vote. You can also let us know what you think on Facebook, just like 6 News, and post your comments on our timeline. The results are in for Thursday's question of the day. We asked, should states have the ability to ban candidates from the ballot? 21% of you said yes, 79% said no. Here's a look at our top stories. An update to multiple teenagers arrested in Blair County following an investigation into a New Year's Day shots fired incident. Police say 4 of the 5 facing charges allegedly conspired to kill the other teen. Authorities say school officials claim the teens were reportedly involved in alleged gang war. Some of them reportedly expelled from school due to what officials say was escalating violence and fighting. The 15 suspect, 16-year-old Hezekiah Steele, now in custody. And state police have identified the person that's in custody after a standoff situation this afternoon. Police say around 10 a.m. members of the U.S. Marshal Service attempted to serve a warrant for Stefan Hoover. The incident happened along Federal Drive, Mount Union Borough in Huntington County. Officials are asking you to avoid the area until further notice, but police say there's currently no threat to the public. An armored vehicle was brought to the scene and concussion flash grenades were reportedly utilized. Federal Drive listed as the address for the Huntington County Housing Authority. As family, friends, and fans grieve the loss of country music star Toby Keith, his death is shining a light on stomach cancer. But in the U.S., if you're at average risk for the disease, there's no recommended routine screening for this type of cancer. Mandy Gaither explains why and has more on the signs, symptoms, and causes.
At 62 years old.
Well, Tony, it's looking more like a decline in temperatures despite this spring weather we're having, it feels like, at least.
Yeah, there's a big change coming, Stoker, heading into next week. If you're a skier or a snowboarder, good news.
Thank you, Tony. Earlier this week, student athletes at a school district in Center County deciding to help out a local charity while playing basketball. During the Penns Valley Rams middle and high school boys basketball games against Central, the Penns Valley Boys Basketball Booster Club says the student athletes chose the Hope Fund as the nonprofit they wanted to benefit. The Hoops for Hope campaign offered basket raffles and prizes. All proceeds are benefiting the Hope Fund of Penns Valley. The raffles were held during the basketball game.
The Hope Fund is a organization that supports people that need different things, whether they're fighting a disease or they need some help with money or whatever. So the lesson here is giving back. They give a lot away, and this is a good way for them to give back.
21 raffle baskets were donated by parents of the basketball players. There's a new scholarship opportunity for applicants with a military affiliation. Veteran Community Initiatives Incorporated announcing the Thomas Caulfield Veterans Remembered Scholarship. Caulfield is an Army veteran who served during the Vietnam War and the president and CEO of VCI. Board members say they created the scholarship as a way to extend his legacy of dedication to a group at the heart of the community. Steelers defensive lineman Cam Hayward receiving a prestigious award last night at the NFL Honors. Hayward was named the NFL's Walter Payton Man of the Year. This is the 6th time the Steelers nominated the defensive lineman for the award. He created the Hayward House Foundation that supports several initiatives in the Pittsburgh area. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award is given every year to a player for their commitment to community service as well as excellence on the field. Before the big game, there's the pre-show, and one man has put his unique musical stamp on it for several years now. Our Sinclair station in Vegas, KSNV, sat down with musical director and producer Adam Blackstone to learn more about him and what it takes to pull off an unforgettable Super Bowl-worthy performance. The Los Angeles Lakers immortalized the late superstar Kobe Bryant with a bronze statue. The 19-foot, 4,000-pound statue shows Bryant in his white number 8 jersey from the night he scored 81 points against the Toronto Raptors in 2006. It's one of 3 that will be created to honor the 5-time NBA champion and top scorer in Lakers history. Another will feature the star in his number 24 jersey. The 3rd statue will honor him and his daughter, Gianna Bryant. His daughter and several others died in a helicopter crash in 2020. Don't let the horror stories fool you. People who are married report feeling much happier than people who aren't. According to a new Gallup polling, 61% of married U.S. adults say they're thriving. By comparison, fewer than 50% of adults in a domestic partnership, adults who never married, and adults who are divorced say they're thriving. Gallup says the institution of marriage isn't necessarily the source of happiness. Rather, people with personality traits linked to happiness, like emotional stability and agreeableness, may be more likely to seek out marriage.
Coverage you can count on.
Beyond the game and the commercials, Super Bowl Sunday is also about food, and a lot of it. Medical reporter Liz Bonus shares how much we usually eat.
Hey there, everybody. It is the 2nd biggest eating day.
Super Bowl fans are expected to splurge on snacks this year. Luckily for them, prices for traditional game day food and drinks have stayed flat or gone down. According to market research from Circana, the average Super Bowl fan will spend about $43 on food and drinks this Sunday. Research from Wells Fargo shows fresh chicken wing prices have dropped about 5% from last year. Frozen wings fell about 11%, and guacamole and beer prices essentially stayed flat, rising less than 1% over the last year.
Tuesday could have some accumulating snowfall there and maybe getting nickel and dime with some more snow later next week. So after some pretty quiet spring-like weather, things are changing.
Definitely, Tony. Hey, I appreciate it. Nightly News is up next. Take care.